Well, hey everybody. Welcome to the update preview stream. This is Bugs here. I'm joined today by Artemis and Miss D. Say hi, guys.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, guys.
So, what do we got going on this week? Well, we're over here on the staging branch and we've got some things to talk about. Before we get into it, though, what's going on with server whips? Well, it is mid month ish, so we are at the weekly and bi weekly wipes for Rustified servers. And they do wipe at their regular scheduled time, which is 3 p.m. local time for the region. So that means EU wiped 3 hours ago, AUSEA wiped like 12 hours ago, and the US servers will wipe in 2 hours at 3 p.m. EST. And again, that's weekly and bi weekly Thursday wipe servers. That's your mains, your mediums, your trios, your smalls, your Zen Labs, which are actually now, as of today, switched over to mini and the like. And for all Rustified wipe information, as always, you can join our Discord and go to the server information channel and find all the information on all of our servers, including direct connect information, all right there. And that is rustified.com/discord if you're interested.
It's also in
And
chat.
and it's also in chat. Thank you, D. And also, as always, if you have any questions as we're going through this today, feel free to do at Misty underscore that's me in chat. And we'll get to as many questions as we have the opportunity to. And let's get into it. Before we get into what's going on in development, though, I do want to wish Facepunch a very happy 15th birthday. They turned a little earlier in the summer. They turned 15 years old, Facepunch Studios, that is. And in celebration of that, they made all their games, DLCs, and soundtracks 50% off for the whole week. So, here, a huge shout out to Gary and all the developers over at Facepunch for creating not only this amazing game Rust, but the various other games they've created. And here's to another 15 years of success and glory to Facepunch. And let's get into development news now. There are a lot of fixes going on. I'll be straight, there's not a ton to show off over here on staging today. It's mostly all on separate branches and things like that. So we're just going to be peacefully lerping around the beautiful scenery of Rust as we go through what is going on. First and foremost, a bunch of fixes going on, various fixes all over the place. They're fixing some LODs to trikes and the pager not being activated when getting on a horse, and some fly hack kick issues on ocean junk piles, and some missing BBQ prefabs at monuments. And there were some compression issues with server tags, adding commas between them, and some car doors getting destroyed when they shouldn't, and the seismic sensor vibration level not being reset when unpowered, and various other things like that. And this is common as we go through each month of development, that we see just a number of various fixes and improvements to existing things in the game. For a full list, if you're really curious, as always, head over to rustified.com, as I do an article every Thursday, first thing Eastern Time, midnight. It goes live and it summarizes all this stuff in development in text and pictures. Next, on to some new things in the works. Shields are getting their initial development being done as of just yesterday. And shields are an interesting one. This is going to be a defensive shield that the player holds from the look of it. And it will go in the backpack slot based on what we're seeing in the commits. It'll kind of exist in the backpack slot and then be automatically equipped when a valid held entity is equipped. Currently, those are two valid held entities for testing: the salvage sword and the M92. And so, yeah, you'll have your shield. I'm guessing it'll be on your back. Maybe it'll help you from getting shot in the back as well. And then if you bust out, say, the salvage sword or the M92, it will equip next to you and next to the weapon that you are using. And one thing that we're seeing from the commits as well is that you won't be able to aim down sight So if you have a pistol out and the shield, then you'll kind of be hip firing, so you won't be as accurate. And the other thing is, if you have a melee weapon like the salvaged sword and the shield out, you won't be able to throw it. So you'll just be able to do the melee attack, but you won't be able to throw it. And given this is in the initial stages of development, I imagine we're going to see a bunch of changes and improvements to this. It is still on a separate branch, so there's no visuals. Based on the commits, even the visuals on the separate branch are not finalized yet. It sounds like there's just placeholder, visuals, textures, models, and the like. But as things progress with this, I imagine we'll see more weapons get added to the mix and maybe some more functionality with the shield as well, like maybe a shield strike. I don't know, I'm just throwing it out there. And this is going to be an interesting one because if you have experience with shields in other games, you will know how it can be hard to find the proper balance. Like, very often, shields can be exploited and overpowered. And then on the flip side of that, of course, is that they're underpowered and not worth using. So it is really going to be interesting to see how Facepunch brings these to market, so to speak, and what the balance of them is. But it is an interesting new thing for especially PvP engagements and defensive tactics. So, as always, with all this stuff, we'll keep you posted as more comes to light. I don't think, given this just started the other day, I don't think we'll see these shields go live for the August update, but maybe September, maybe as we enter the fall, we'll see shields enter the game. There's also some changes going on to traveling vendor dynamic prices. So basically, the default interval for price adjustments has been extended, and it is now going to happen just every 5 in-game days. And this is a pretty big shift from the current frequency, which is 4 times per day. And so basically, this aims to stabilize the prices, providing a smoother transaction experience and preventing the sharp drop off in prices often seen a week or so into a monthly wipe. And these changes aren't live yet, but we can expect them to go live with the August update and forced wipe in 2 weeks. Now, also in the realm of new items coming into the game, we did in the past week just see a new tin can alarm get the initial stages of work being done. Like the shields, it's still on a separate branch, so no visuals or not many specifics quite yet. But what we're seeing based on the commits is that this tin can alarm will have kind of a tripwire that you'll be able to set. I imagine it will be kind of similar to setting an electrical wire down. And this tripwire will be, I'm sure there'll be like a max length or whatever, and you'll be able to set it up outside your base or even at parts inside your base. And then you can imagine that when someone trips the wire, it's just going to make a noise of like a tin can, something or other. So this is more of a low level alarm system. I don't think it's going to require electricity or anything like that. It's probably going to be very cheap to craft, maybe some cans and a piece of rope or something like that. But it should be good for alerting yourself of intruders when you are in the initial stages of a wipe and don't have more high level defenses set up yet. Now, we also have some work being done on crocodiles, so a new kind of aggressive animal in the works. And, as you gathered, as you could guess, no visuals on this, as with everything else, still on a separate branch. But it does look like it's likely that these will be part of the new Jungle of Ruins. And we also did see the initial work on snakes last week. And so it seems like this new monument being worked on, the Jungle Ruins, will not only be a new monument, but it might come with some new animals, some new PvE challenges, and it might even come with its own biome, like a jungle type biome, which would be really cool to see a part of the map that is completely new, completely different, with some new exciting looting and PvP and PvE opportunities. So we're keeping a close eye on that entire body of work. I'm really excited to see some visuals on the jungle ruins, especially. I think jungles in the game would be really, really cool. And I'm not holding my breath though, because if you've tracked development for any period of time, you'll know that these monuments are bespoke, they're made from scratch, they're handmade, and therefore they take some time to get from concept to production. So I imagine hopefully maybe sometime before the end of the year we'll see this go live, but I don't think anytime in the summer and probably not even in the fall will we see this enter the game because it is from the looks of it a much larger body of work that will probably take several months to get even onto staging. And then there's, of course, a bunch of other stuff in the works. There's the Cliffs rework in progress that has been in progress for weeks and weeks now. And I think maybe we could see it in the next month or two. If you're not familiar, this is just reworking some of those cliffs that are prevalent across the procedural map generation. And if you're a map maker, just to say, we did get confirmation that the old cliffs, aka the current cliffs, will not be impacted by this, as in the prefabs won't be taken out of the game. So if you have a map, a custom map that uses those, you don't have to worry about your map breaking when these cliffs go live. But nevertheless, at some point in the near future, we should see these new cliffs come into the procedural map generation and hopefully provide a lot more contrast and interesting experiences when kind of traversing the plains of Rust. There's also more work on the Frontier Hazmat DLC being done. This is going to be, from the looks of it, in line with the other hazmat DLCs we've seen in the past, where we have a not only hazmat suit skin, but then also a AK and maybe some tools that are in line with the vibe of that skin. And no word on when that's going live yet, although it does look like not only the hazmat and the various other weapon and tool skins have been worked on. I get the sense it's getting ready for production. So maybe August we'll see this DLC go live. We haven't seen a DLC in a couple months, so I think it is about time. So hopefully we'll see that go live in August. They also added a fire mode switch sound to the rest of the guns. It wasn't on all the guns, so now that sound when you switch fire mode has been added. They're doing some more work on cloth material testing, and this is along the same lines of they were testing a new material with plastic as well. So we might see some more interesting cloth stuff going on in the game in the near future, some flowy cloth materials and maybe even some more interesting plastic materials. They're doing an iteration on the Wolf AI. So what we saw, it's not too much in the commits that's like creating a holistic story of what's going on here, but they were doing some stuff with the wolves turning around and how they do that. It's all to say that these animals in the near future might be behaving differently and more dynamically. And there's some more work on the Radtown Redux. This is, of course, a new monument that's kind of a throwback to the days of Legacy and that those old rad towns in Legacy if you ever played. And no word on when these are going to go live. We have seen some visuals in the past. They were kind of very rough, but it did definitely have the vibes of the legacy days of those old rad towns. No word if this is just going to be one monument or if it will be a couple monuments, kind of in the vein of the gas station or the warehouses around the map. But we'll keep you posted as more comes to light on that. There's also some more updates to player rigging. This isn't going to really impact you too much as a player, but it is just the dealings with the bodies and the ragdolls of the players and the various items that go on them. They have also doubled the elevator max floor limit, so we might see some much higher elevators in the near future. They've done some shifts to the bike steering this week as well, basically making it more responsive, especially if you are steering, say, all the way to the right and then you let go. It's going to be going back to center in a more responsive manner. And they also did some work on the harbor shipping containers, now allowing vehicle movement onto the cargo ship by parenting the vehicle. So if you want to sneak, say, like a motorbike onto the cargo ship, that will apparently be possible with these changes. And as I briefly touched on before, there's some more work on the Jungle Ruins Monument. And again, not sure if this is going to be a new biome or just a new monument, but it does, regardless, look like it is coming with some new animals, the snakes and the crocodiles. And they're also doing some initial work on some underwater dive sites. So that looks like it'll be either a new type of monument or a new, at least, point of interest and maybe loot opportunity under the water. And with that, they are also working on the Ski-Doo vehicle, which was on staging last month but didn't make it into the update because it wasn't quite behaving in the water as they wanted it to. But if you missed it, that is the single uh, player kind of underwater motor thing. Man, my brain's blanking on how to describe it. But when I hear ski doo, I think jet ski, and it's not that. It's one of those things that divers use to help propel them through the underwater and above water by just holding these two little handles, and then it kind of has its own motor and everything like that. So along with that looking like it's going live at some point in the near future, I believe we'll have some more interesting things underwater to visit using this new underwater propeller object. There's also some more work on crude gestures. So, those are the various middle finger gestures and the slit your throat gesture, which was part of the Hack Week the other month. It does look like those are going to be making their way into the game at some point in the near future. And yeah, it'll be pretty fitting for Rust. And finally, there's some more work on the motorbike burnouts. So it looks like with those new motorbikes, at some point in the future, you'll be able to do a cool burnout before you tear out and go elsewhere. And then that's basically what's going on with Rust development this week. Again, we're mid month. There's 2 more weeks of development before the update on August 1st. I had to just look at my calendar real quick. But yeah, the update in August is on the first day of the month, 2 weeks from today. And there are actually, with the wipes today, some server shifts for Rustified servers, and I'll share with you real quick. One, we are moving the trios from a bi weekly wipe cycle to a weekly wipe cycle. So the trios, both EU and US trio, will wipe on every Thursday instead of the bi-weekly. And this was due to popular demand. We had a number of requests for it, and so we're giving it a shot. And then also, we are rebranding our ZenLab servers, and they'll now be known as Mini. The thing with the ZenLab servers, originally they were Happus, and then Happus stopped being supported as a map, so we rebranded to ZenLabs, kind of trying to create the idea of test ground for custom maps. And ZenLabs is, of course, a brand in the actual server. You'll see it around monuments. But the thing is, custom map making as it stands right now is not in such a great place. There were some changes to Rust Edit and some other things that happened that basically made it so running a custom map server in a performant and reliable way was not so possible anymore. And given that, what we did was we stopped trying to hobble along with custom maps. It was literally taking hours and hours and hours of our systems team time each week to try to manually fix these maps. And it really wasn't giving a good experience and it really wasn't worth it. And so, what we did a couple weeks back was switch the ZenLab servers to just a more PvP oriented small proc gen environment. But that doesn't really communicate with Zen Labs. People look at rustified.com/Zen Labs. They don't know what the hell it is. And so it just didn't really make sense. So now we have rebranded to Mini, which hopefully does communicate more. It's a small map, small pop, PvP oriented proc gen environment. And it is all to say when custom maps are back in a position that is conducive for performant and reliable gameplay, then we will consider going back to custom maps. But I don't see that anytime soon. And so in the meantime, we'll just have Rustified Mini, and that's in US and EU. And also, I will note there was a small client update. It was like a 30 meg client only update earlier today. There's no official word on what the purpose, or at least I didn't see it on what the exact purpose of this client update was, but I did note that there was no server update that came with it, and it was very small in nature. And so my initial thought is that this is something to combat hackers, as we have seen in the past couple of weeks, two other mandatory, these were client and server updates to combat the hacker situation. And I'm thinking and I'm hoping that this one this morning was to fuck up hackers a little bit more. Now, I will say, one, I do greatly appreciate Facepunch prioritizing the hacker situation as it is untenable and has been for some time. But I will say it's not fixed yet. We're still seeing tons of hackers. We're still banning hundreds a day. And it is this kind of game of cat and mouse that I guess will continue ad infinitum. But it is very nice to see Facepunch prioritizing this. And shit, if one way to do it is releasing these small client updates that are mandatory for every client to run, that kind of changes some underlying code that breaks the current iteration of hacks, then hey, that's a more agile game of cat and mouse than we have seen in the past. Nevertheless, the hackers do seem to, it's kind of like if you run a server and a server update comes out and you run Oxide, you need Oxide to update, and sometimes Oxide takes like half an hour to update. My sense is it's kind of just like that, where it does break the hacks, but then the hack creators basically just run an update, reconnect the things, and in like half an hour or so, they're working again. So not ideal if that is the case. This is kind of a little conjecture here, but I do want to be as transparent as possible with the situation because it is so untenable. And I do also hope that EAC continues to get better and better and more proactive with this stuff because when it comes down to it, the onus to remove hackers is on EAC. They're literally named Easy Anti Cheat. They're a company that exists to remove hackers from video games, and Facepunch hired them over 10 years ago to do just that. And they have failed to consistently and reliably do that over the past 10 years. And as a server owner, it's frustrating that when the onus is on EAC and EAC doesn't do their job, the onus then falls on us as server owners. And I will tell you, we have limited tools and limited resources. We don't have a crystal ball that shows us hardware IDs. We don't have a number of different things that apparently EAC has and doesn't act upon. And so it's all to say we do our best here and we are onboarding more people and improving our internal systems for reducing the number of hackers in specifically Rustified servers. But it is at times like putting a forest fire out with a garden hose. It's very untenable. Um, so that's the situation. It is getting more action, especially from Facepunch over the past several weeks. And again, I am so thankful to Facepunch for prioritizing that. But I will say there is still more work to do. And I look forward to seeing that work get done and the hacker situation get better. So that's where we're at with that. And frankly, I'll continue to give updates, especially to the extent things are changing or things are being done on the hacker situation, because it is such a big problem in the game. And it doesn't behoove me to pretend it's not an issue or ignore it because we are committed to running the best servers that we can. And one of the things that can ruin that the most is hackers. And so we are committed to removing them as soon as possible. But again, the onus is on EAC. And to the extent they don't do their job, which they haven't been effectively, the onus falls on us. And we are limited in tools and resources. Nevertheless, we do the best we can. And I really appreciate everyone who gives reports in the servers. If you are playing on Rustified and you do see a suspicious player or just a fucking clear hacker, please go to my.rustified.com. You can also do slash report in game, but I recommend going to my.rustified.com. You create a report there and then take that report ID and post it in our Discord. Come in Discord, be like, yo, I got a live one here. Here's the report ID. And we've got staff in there. We're really working on 24/7 coverage. And if we're not there yet, we're pretty damn close. And we'll take that report ID, we'll investigate. And especially if it's like a really low hanging fruit, like a 3 hour old account who's 20 and 1 kill to death ratio, well, we'll nab them. We'll nab the team they're playing with. Like at this point, I'll be honest, I'm not even fucking looking at these people. I don't have time to log in, inspect, to confirm. But if you're on a 3 hour old account and you're going 20 and 1 on a vanilla Rust server, something's not right. And sure, maybe you're Trowsy and you're on a Smurf account, in which case, sorry, Trowsy, we'll make it better on the back end. But at this point, we're just swatting these guys the best we can. And the way that we can do that most effectively is through your support. So if you are playing again, please put those reports in. And also, please feel free, and I encourage you to post your report ID in our player Discord, and we will get to it as soon as possible. And yeah, that's about all I have to say about that. Miss D, do we have any questions from the audience?
Not so much, but a few we do. Let me see here. Is there any words on the missile silo nuke?
No, haven't seen any words on that.
Um, when are we gonna focus on removing cheaters instead of updates?
Well, the thankfully the team at FacePunch is doing that. And now, of course, not every developer at FacePunch is going to be adept at working on anti-cheat solutions, right? So we're going to see work on like tin can alarms. But fuck, I wish there was a tin can alarm for cheaters. Am I right? But no, it is all to say FacePunch. And if you read the last dev blog, they are working on it further, but there's definitely more work to be done. I'm thankful again that they're prioritizing it, and we have seen them do certain actions, including, I think, the update today, the client update today, to remove cheaters. But man, is there still work to be done? Because even after that client update this morning, I've banned probably 20 cheaters off the servers, even after that client update. So it's whatever they're doing, although appreciated, it's not enough yet to solve the situation.
Will Brazil main ever be a thing again?
No,
No.
not no. Just the thing with the BR servers and the South America servers is the infrastructure down there is not conducive to run the quality of server that we're committed to. We tried for a year and a half, 2 years. We sent close to $100,000 worth of hardware down there, only to have it stolen out of customs. So fuck that. I'm done with South America for the time being. I love y'all down there. Great people down there, but holy shit, is it so corrupt and the infrastructure is garbage. So maybe years from now, but I gave up on South America hosted servers. Sorry.
That's all good. Um, I don't see more questions, but we do have a charitable rush coming up later this year.
That's
Maybe you
true.
should
We
say
do.
something about it.
Yeah, so our yearly charity event, this is going to be the 10th year running. Charitable Rust goes live October 12th. That's Saturday in October, of course. And this year we are supporting Direct Relief, which is an amazing organization. We supported them years ago and we're proud to be supporting them again. They bring aid to people in conflict zones around the world. And given all the various conflicts around the world, it seemed kind of apropos to support them again this year. But we're going to have the Twitch drops. We're going to have the item store skins, the proceeds of which go towards this amazing cause. And the event on the weekend is going to feature a 2x vanilla gameplay server that will run for a week, but then there'll also be on that server the space for the art contest and talent show and various other games and activities. So it'll really be a mix of that vanilla accelerated Rust experience you all know and love, along with some other activities that you can only get once a year at Charitable Rust. So we're really excited about it. We're going to have more information on it in the near future. Keep an eye on charitablерust.com and join the Discord if you haven't already. And yeah, we'll have some more teaser trailers and stuff like that coming in the next several weeks. Also, the skin contest is live through the end of this month. And these are for all skin creators to submit whatever skins that we might want to feature for both the Twitch drops and the item store. So, a huge thank you to all the skin creators who have already participated and posted their stuff. We've seen some amazing skins. The quality this year that I'm seeing is quite frankly like paramount to what we've seen previous years. It's really impressive. And I so thank you guys for the support. And if you are a skin creator, head to charitablерust.com/skins for more information on that skin contest and how to participate.
See, Sleth is saying Brazilian servers also DDoS each other daily to compete. For pop, sadly, you guys handled the best attempt at a South American server.
Thank you for saying that. And yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, DDoS is an issue all over the world with this fucking game and with all games, but specifically down there we experienced it a lot. And I'll be honest, if the server hosts that we had didn't literally go out of business, we'd probably still be down there. But the thing is, the server hosts we had went out of business. They went under for some reason. And then we had to switch to another host. We were trying to set up a data center down there. We sent hardware down there. The hardware got lost in customs. I'll throw up the air quotes there, and it just became so untenable that I'm not the type of person to give up too often, but sometimes it's best to just know your beat. And in this case, it was like, all right, we can't provide the server quality that we're committed to, so we won't do it.
Yeah. So, I don't see more questions actually, but there's the warfare event coming up also, yeah?
Oh yeah, at the end of this month, what is it, the 29th? Fancy Orbs
Yeah, I think
Warfare
so.
event?
It's round 31 of the drops. That's about as much as I know, yep.
Yeah, awesome. So stay tuned later in this month. Make sure to go to twitch.facepunch.com to link your accounts and check out more information over there on the Fancy Orb event. And Rustopia's helping host it. And it's just going to be a global warfare event with I should have just called it World War III, right? No, too soon, too soon. But round 31 in the Twitch drops. 26th of July actually goes live until the 29th. So only a couple days to get those drops, but make sure you have connected your accounts and you're ready to participate.
Yeah, and with that, someone was asking when is the next Twitch drops, but I guess that's around that time, yeah?
Yeah, the 26th of July.
Yeah. So, any other news? Oh, I saw one saying about leaders, not stats on Rustified servers. When will that be a
Ooh,
thing?
I'm super excited about that. With development for that is not only well underway, it's trucking. And what we're doing with the stats and leaderboards on Rustified, the reason we haven't had them yet is because I am unwilling to just launch something that is just in line with what everyone else has. If we were going
Unique.
to do it, I want it to be unique. I want it to be something people haven't seen before in this game. And we're working on it. We should have the MVP launched in the next 3 months. I wish it was sooner, but again, we're really committed to having this be awesome. And we've been working on this ingest system so that we can gather all the details of stuff off the server without negatively impacting server performance. There's still some hurdles there, but we've had a couple breakthroughs and we've set up this load balanced ingest system that's going to be really awesome. It can take millions and millions of requests a second and load balance them across several servers. And then we're working on the front end visuals of it. It's going to be really clean. It's going to be really unique. We're going to have leaderboards, but also player profiles where you can see your specific skin, or not skin, gun stats, weapon stats, your top enemies, and all the information you would want to see about how you've participated in the servers. And then on top of that, for our VIP customers, we're going to have rolling out several months after that a much more holistic, a much more detailed thing with server heat maps, with activity logs overlaying on the in-game map. We're going to have heat maps for player bodies for where you're doing your shots. I want to get AI involved, machine learning to provide suggestions on gameplay. I'm really going out there with this, and it's super exciting. It's going to be really cool.
I
And
can hear it in your voice when you talk about it.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, I'm so
woo!
stoked about it. It's been a long time in the making, and for the longest time, we just couldn't figure out how to get all this data off our servers, especially a server with like seven, eight, 900 people on it, without the performance dipping to shit. And we've had some breakthroughs in that, and that was really the spark of like, okay, let's go forward with this. And so, yeah, we'll have more information on that in the coming months, but I'm super excited about what that is going to be.
Yeah. Someone just joined saying, I just joined. What's the most important update?
Anti cheat would be the most important update. Get rid of the fucking hackers, I would say, would be the most important update. Next to that, I mean, tin can alarm sounds cool. No, I'm just kidding. Who gives a shit? Get rid of the hackers. Get rid of the hackers. And then on top of that, prioritize performance, optimize, optimize, optimize. Allow people with lower end PCs to play the game such that we can have a higher number of total players in the servers. And yeah, that's the most important update. Get rid of hackers, optimize the game. New stuff is cool, but there's so much stuff in the game already. The game's so friggin' feature packed already. And it's not to say I want them to stop adding new features. I love what Facepunch does. I love this rolling monthly update schedule going on over 10 years now, and they're still going at it. Huge, huge props to Facepunch and all the developers that work tirelessly to not only have created this amazing, unique unicorn of a game, but then continue to improve and maximize on it. But when you ask me what's the most important update, anti cheat, get rid of these fucking hackers.
Yeah. So, do you think they'll ever bring back the old recoil? Like to
Fuck
get more
that.
players
No,
back?
no, they're not going to.
Hmm. Well, I think that's it. Maybe
Cool.
a short little recap.
Yeah, I'll do a little recapity cap here. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to do at Misty underscore that's me in chat, and we'll get to as many as we can. But to recap here, we've got 2 weeks until the update and force wipe on August 1st. And also a big happy birthday to Facepunch. Facepunch turned 15 years old a little earlier in the summer. And so for this week, they're making all their games, DLCs, and soundtracks 50% off for the whole week. So um, yeah, go get some 50% off stuff if you don't already own it. But in the realm of development, there's not much to show off on staging this week. A lot of it's still in the realm of either fixes or separate branch new items being worked on. But there are some fixes. I'm not going to go through them in the recap. Check out rustified.com for a full list of all the fixes that are being worked on. But TLDR, they're fixing shit. There's shields being worked on. So this is the initial work on a defensive option for PvP where it's a player held shield. What we can see from commits so far is that you will have the shield in the backpack slot. I'm guessing that it will be on your back. Hopefully, it will protect you from, people firing on your six. And then when you have a valid held entity, the shield will auto equip. So currently that's the salvage sword or the M92. Now, if it's the M92, you can't ADS, you can't aim down sight. It'll only be hip firing. Also, if it's the sword or another melee weapon, you won't be able to throw it with the shield equipped. And I imagine there's going to be more weapons that are added to this list of compatible with the shield. but it'll be interesting to see how they get the balance of the shield right, because if you've used a shield in another game, it seems like it normally falls into two categories of either it's overpowered and people abuse it, or it's underpowered and no one bothers using it. So it'll be interesting to see where the balance lands with this shield. I don't think we're going to see it anytime in August, as the initial development just started the other day, but maybe in September we'll see. And as always, we'll keep you posted. Also, they're doing some changes to traveling vendor dynamic pricing. Basically, instead of changing the frequency of prices, shifting every, it was 4 times a day currently, it's going to be every 5 in-game days. And so basically, this should stabilize the prices and have smoother experiences and preventing sharp drop offs in prices, often seen a week into a monthly wipe. There's also initial work on a tin can alarm. This is going to be kind of a low level alarm system where you run a tripwire of sorts at some point, and then I guess if someone trips over it, it's going to make a ruckus with some cans. So probably not going to require any electricity, but should be good for a little base defense earlier in the wipe. We've got some work on crocodiles, so a new animal coming in the game, probably going to be part of the new Jungle Ruins monument, and maybe even a jungle biome coming in. Not sure, not confirmed. But also, along with this, they were working the other week on snakes. So it looks like the Jungle Ruins will have crocodiles and snakes and a whole new experience for monument looting, PvP, and PvE. And then there's a bunch of other stuff in the works. Cliff rework progress continues. There's a Frontier Hazmat DLC coming out maybe in August. We'll see. It looks like work on that is moving along nicely. They added a fire mode switch sound to all the guns that have that. It was missing on some of the guns. They're doing some more work on the cloth material. They're doing an iteration on the wolf AI, so wolves may behave a little differently in the near future. There's more work on the Radtown Redux Monument, which is, of course, that monument, which is the throwback to the Radtowns from the days of Legacy. There's some more work on the player rigging. There's a they doubled the elevator max floor limit, and they're making the bike steering more responsive, especially if you're turned all the way in one direction and you let go. It's kind of going to go back to center in a more responsive manner. Speaking of bikes, it looks like you'll be able to bring them onto the harbor shipping containers and have them go onto cargo ship, because they've hooked up the parenting of the vehicle to the harbor shipping containers, so that whole process will work. There's more work along with the crocodiles on the Jungle Ruins Monument. There's some initial work on some underwater dive sites and more work on the Ski-Doo vehicle, which is that single person vehicle that'll help you navigate underwater quicker. And so we could see some more interesting points of interest underneath the water and an easier way to get through the water in a faster manner. There's more work on crude gestures, so all the types of middle fingers and slashing of the throats, and there's more work on motorbike burnouts. And then, real quick, once again, we did shift some things with the Rustified server lineup with the wipes today. Trios are shifting from a bi weekly map wipe to a weekly map wipe, and that's due to popular demand. So they will wipe every Thursday now. And then also, we've rebranded Zen Labs to Mini, because no one knew what the fuck Zen Labs was. And it was originally for custom maps, but custom maps are kind of in a shit position now. So we switched to a small proc gen PvP oriented environment, and we thought, hey, let's change the name of the server to reflect that a little bit more. So they are now rustified.com mini, and we have one of those in US and one of those in EU. And yeah, that's what we got going on. Any other questions before we wind this puppy down?
We I saw one. Are they still working on the zip lines?
Yeah, we saw just last week the big change to zip lines this month, which probably will be coming in August, is they made it so they're longer in general and there's less climbing, was like kind of the big thing. They added some more points to the platforms, and then they basically increased the total zipline length on a server by about 50% based on what we saw. So you're going to have higher up zip lines and longer running zip lines probably coming in August. I don't think that's been merged in yet, but I get the sense it will be for the August update and forced wipe.
Yeah, I think that's it.
All right, cool. Well, I do want to thank you all for tuning in. A lot of people think we're the developers of the game or we're on the Facepunch payroll or something like that. Neither of those are the case. We are, in fact, just an independent organization who loves running the best servers that we can and reporting on development news each week. And we've been doing this now for 10 years. And the only way we're able to continue doing this week after week, month after month, is through the support of the community. So, to all of you who watch each week, to people who give bits, subscribe on Twitch, and to our wonderful, beautiful, loyal VIP customers, thank you all so very freaking much because we wouldn't be able to do this without your support. So much love to you all. Thank you, Artemis and Miss D, for being my co MCs as always.
Nice. You're welcome.
Yep, you're welcome.
And a shout out to Facepunch. Happy birthday again. Shout out to all the devs at Facepunch. Much love to you all. I might bust some balls sometimes about the cheater situation and things like that, but it doesn't negate the fact that I so love and appreciate you guys for everything that you do. And also a shout out to my whole team at Rustified because this isn't a one man show here. I wouldn't be able to do this without the many team members who work very hard to keep our servers clean and keep our servers up and running properly. So much love to the whole team at Rustified. And much love to you all. And with that, we're going to wind this puppy down. We'll be back same time, same place next week to give you a rundown of what's going on in Rust development and a more clear view, ideally, of what's going to be coming in the August 1st update. In the meantime, you can check us out on X, Rustified on X, for news throughout the week, and rustified.com for news. Every Thursday, I do an article that goes live Eastern Time at midnight. Check out our Discord for more information on servers. And if you're playing in our servers and you run across a hacker, please go to my.rustified.com, create a report, note the report ID, go to our Discord and say, hey, I got a live one here, and post the report ID. Don't call their name out in chat. That fucks up our investigation. But the report ID really helps us out. And let's work together to keep getting rid of these hackers the best we can, as quickly as we can. And with that, I'm going to wind this puppy down. I hope you all have a wonderful week and a wonderful wipe. This is Bugs, signing off.